Most people only love one version of you, the version that's convenient, the version that smiles when it should, softens when it should, agrees when it should, and never ever shows the parts that would make the room uncomfortable. Most people want the highlight reel, the morning person, the kind one who says the right thing. And the moment a different version surfaces, the version that goes quiet for days, the version that says something with a blade in it, the version that stares through people instead of at them, the version that carries a darkness they didn't sign up for, most people back away, slowly, carefully, with the same energy you'd use to exit a room where something just growled in the corner. They don't announce the departure. They just stop showing up with the same consistency, stop texting first, stop asking the deep questions because they wanted the curated version and you just showed them the unedited file and the unedited file scared them. But there is someone, and this reading is about them, who saw the unedited file, all of it. The soft side and the dark side and the weird side and the ugly crying side and the terrifyingly intelligent side and the side that laughs at things nobody else finds funny and the side that goes somewhere unreachable for hours and comes back without explaining where it went. They saw all of it. And they didn't just accept it, they became obsessed with it. Every version, not in spite of the contradictions, because of the contradictions. Because watching you contain all of those people inside one body is the most fascinating thing they've ever witnessed, and they cannot look away. Okay, so I literally had to stop what I was doing to record this because the energy on this one is not playing around. I'm Stella Love, Tarot with Stella. Subscribe if you're new because we stay busy around here. Real quick, only take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know how we do. Now, let me get into this because, oh my gosh, I have been waiting to tell somebody this all day. Let me map your versions because you carry more of them than most people realize, and you've spent your life managing which ones are visible at any given time. It's exhausting. It's a full-time job you never applied for, and this person saw through the management system entirely. The soft version is the one most people know, the one who checks on friends without being asked, the one whose first instinct in any conflict is to de-escalate, to absorb, to protect the other person's feelings, even at the expense of your own, the one who cries at commercials and pretends they didn't, the one who remembers small things, birthdays, preferences, the offhand comments someone made 3 months ago that they forgot but you filed away because caring is compulsive for you. This version is real, deeply real. It's not a performance, but it's also not the whole picture. And the people who only love this version are loving a fraction of you while believing they're loving all of you. And you let them believe it because showing them the rest felt like a risk you couldn't afford. The dark version, this is the one you hide. Not because you're ashamed of it, because experience taught you that people can't handle it. The dark version is the part of you that thinks thoughts you'd never say out loud. The part that sees through everyone's performance and chooses not to call it out, not because you lack the courage, but because the precision with which you could dismantle someone if you wanted to is a weapon you've decided not to use. The dark version knows things about human nature that you wish you didn't. It sees motives. It reads subtext with an accuracy that is almost clinical. It understands power dynamics and manipulation tactics, not because you studied them, but because you've been on the receiving end of enough of them to reverse engineer the blueprint. The dark version carries a controlled anger, not explosive, not violent, but present. A low-frequency hum of fury about every injustice you've witnessed, every betrayal you've absorbed, every time someone proved that your trust was a commodity they were willing to exploit. You keep this version locked away, not because it's dangerous, although it is, but because you've learned that people who see it treat you differently afterward, with more distance, more caution, less warmth. And you need the warmth too much to risk losing it by showing them what lives underneath. The weird version, this is the one you show almost nobody. The version that has specific, intense, consuming interests that don't match your exterior. The version that thinks about things at 3 in the morning, that would make other people concerned for your mental health, not because you're unwell, but because your mind operates at a depth and a speed and an associative creativity that most people simply cannot follow. The weird version has a sense of humor that is either too dark or too absurd or too layered for the room. The weird version asks questions that make people pause, not because they're offensive, but because nobody else in the room was thinking at that frequency. You've learned to suppress this version early, probably in school, probably when you realize that the thing your brain does naturally is the thing that makes people look at you sideways. So you dialed it back. You'll learn the appropriate response time for questions. You'll learn to laugh at the predictable joke instead of offering the unexpected one. You domesticated the weird, and in doing so, you amputated one of the most alive parts of yourself. And then there's the version you show nobody. The one that exists at 4 in the morning when the social software is fully offline and you're just a consciousness floating in the dark trying to make sense of being alive. The version that is sometimes overwhelmed by the sheer volume of what you feel. The version that has considered giving up, not permanently, not seriously enough to worry about, but enough to know what that edge looks like from a step away. The version that is profound and fragile simultaneously. That carries both a cathedral and a crack. That could write something devastating and then not know how to order coffee without anxiety. This version is the truest and the most hidden, and the one that this person somehow impossibly detected. I keep getting the number 7 through this reading. 7 is sacred completeness. It means your complexity is not a flaw, it's the design. You were built to contain multitudes. The soft and the dark are not contradictions, they're counterweights. The weird and the functional are not at war, they're collaborators. And the person in this reading is the first person whose perception is wide enough to hold all of it without needing to flatten you into something simpler. I'm picking up the initials O or H connected to this person, and for some of you it could be a Z or a J. Drop them in the comments if those hit. Now let me tell you about this person's obsession, because it's not the word obsess the way the internet uses it casually, hyperbolically, drained of meaning. This person is obsessed in the clinical sense. Their brain has allocated an unreasonable amount of processing power to the project of understanding you, and the project is never ending because every time they think they've mapped you, a new version surfaces and the map has to be redrawn. And they love the redrawing. That's the thing. They don't want a finished picture of you. They want the ongoing revelation, the permanent surprise of a person who cannot be fully known because the territory keeps expanding. They are obsessed with your soft side first, but not in the way everyone else is. Everyone else receives your softness and feels comforted by it. This person receives your softness and feels devastated by it because they know they've seen enough of your other versions to know what it costs you to be that gentle. They know that your kindness is not effortless. It's a daily, deliberate, almost heroic choice made by someone who has seen enough of the world to justify permanent cynicism and chooses warmth anyway. They watch you be kind, and they feel the dark version standing behind it, like a bodyguard aware, alert, capable of enormous damage, choosing not to deploy. And that restraint, the controlled strength of someone who could be lethal and chooses to be gentle, is the most attractive thing they've ever seen in another human being. They are obsessed with your dark side. This is the part that would alarm you if you knew how much it draws them. They don't just tolerate your darkness, they crave it. When they catch a glimpse of it, the sharpness in your voice when someone pushes too far, the look in your eyes that goes from warm to arctic in a quarter second, the sentence you deliver with such surgical precision, it takes the other person 3 hours to realize they've been cut. This person feels a rush that is almost physical, not fear, admiration. The specific admiration of watching someone handle power with discipline, because your dark side isn't chaos. It's the most controlled version of you. It's the sniper, not the grenade. And they find the precision intoxicating. They are obsessed with your weird side. This is the version they want the most access to because this is the version that nobody gets. When you let something genuinely weird slip an interest that doesn't match your exterior, a thought that arrives from a direction nobody expected, a joke so specific and so strange that the room goes quiet and you immediately wish you'd kept it inside, this person lights up visibly. Their whole face changes because they recognize their own weird in yours. They have their own version of the thing that doesn't fit, the thoughts that have no audience, the humor that lands nowhere, the inner landscape that is too complex for the social world they navigate daily. And when your weird meets their weird in those rare, accidental, unplanned moments, something clicks with an almost audible precision, like two codes finally finding matching encryption. And the intimacy of that click is greater than anything physical could produce because it happens at the level of the operating system, not the interface. They collect your weird moments the way an archaeologist collects artifacts with reverence and context and the understanding that each one reveals something about a civilization nobody else knows exists. The reference you made that went over everyone's head, they caught it. They filed it. They smiled about it hours later when they were alone because the knowledge that your brain works the way it works is a private treasure they carry. The opinion you started to share and then pulled back because you read the room and the room wasn't ready, they noticed the pullback. They noticed the editing. And they wanted to scream across the table, finish the thought, I can handle it. I've been waiting my entire life for someone who thinks at this frequency, and you just censored the thing I needed to hear most. They are starving for the unedited version of your strange, and every time you edit yourself in public, they feel a small, private grief that nobody else in the room would understand. I'm getting strong Scorpio and Aquarius energy around this person, the investigator and the alien. Someone who has always felt slightly outside the human program, capable of running it, competent in its execution, but never quite believing in it the way everyone else seems to. And you, with your managed versions and your hidden dimensions and your refusal to be reducible to a single description, are the first person who makes them feel like maybe the program isn't the point. Maybe the point is finding the other person who's also faking fluency and building a private language between the two of you that nobody else needs to understand. For some of you, I'm picking up physical impressions, someone whose default expression carries intelligence the way other faces carry bone structure. It's architectural, defining. The first thing you notice, eyes that are assessing, even when they're being warm, there's a calculation running permanently behind the softness. And you recognize it because you run the same one. Something angular about them, sharp lines, precise features, a face that was designed for intensity and has learned to soften just enough for social survival. Their body near yours does something specific. It mirrors unconsciously. When you lean, they lean. When you cross your arms, they cross theirs. When you laugh, their laugh starts a fraction of a second after yours, triggered not by the joke, but by the sound of your enjoyment. They are tuned to you at a frequency so precise that their body has started running a background synchronization program they didn't install and can't delete. Now, let me tell you what this person imagines, because their fantasies about you are as multidimensional as the person they're obsessed with. They imagine the soft version first, you, undone, guard down, crying about something real, not performatively, not delicately, but the ugly kind of crying that makes your face contort and your voice crack and your body shake with the force of whatever you're releasing. They imagine holding you through that and feeling the trust required for you to be that ugly in front of another person and understanding that being trusted with your ugly is a greater gift than being shown you're beautiful. Then their imagination shifts to the dark version, you in a moment of power. a negotiation, a confrontation, a situation where the gloves come off and the version of you that most people never meet shows up fully armed. They imagine watching you handle something with the kind of cold, devastating competence that makes people go still. And they imagine the look you'd give them afterward, the slight shift from dark back to warm, the micro transition between the version that just handled business and the version that handles them. That transition, watching the weapon become the person, is the most intimate thing they can conceive of, more intimate than any physical act, because it means you trust them to see both and still be there when the temperature changes back. And they imagine the weird version lying on a floor somewhere at 2 in the morning talking about something that has no practical application, a theory, a memory, a hypothetical scenario so strange and so specific that it could only come from your particular brain. They imagine laughing at something nobody else would laugh at, and the mutual recognition in that laugh being more connecting than any declaration of love. They imagine the weird finding the weird in the dark, and the dark finding the soft in the weird, and all the versions blending into a single human being who is so completely, impossibly, beautifully complicated that a lifetime wouldn't be enough to finish the map. The desire, and I need to be direct, this person wants every version of you physically, not just the soft one, not just the pretty one, the dark one that pins them with a look, the weird one that laughs wrong, the exhausted one that can barely keep their eyes open, the angry one whose jaw clenches. Every version is a different kind of attractive to them, and the total effect, all versions stacked, all contradictions held simultaneously, produces a wanting so comprehensive it borders on spiritual. They don't want a piece of you, they want the anthology. And the wanting is version specific in a way that keeps them permanently destabilized. The soft version makes them want to hold you carefully, protectively, with the tenderness of someone handling something precious that doesn't know it's precious. The dark version makes them want to be held by you, pushed against a wall by the intensity of your focus, pinned by the precision of your gaze, completely at the mercy of the version of you that has the capacity for controlled devastation. The weird version makes them want to lie on a floor beside you laughing until they can't breathe at something that would be impossible to explain to anyone who wasn't in the room. And the exhausted version, the one that surfaces when all the management fails and you're just a tired human who can barely form sentences, that version makes them want to take care of you so badly their hands ache with the need to do something useful. Every version activates a different kind of desire, and the total effect, all desires layered, all wanting stacked, produces a gravitational pull so comprehensive it affects their decision making, their sleep patterns, their ability to sustain interest in any other human being. You didn't replace their options, you eliminated the concept of options entirely. The jealousy is version specific. When someone else receives your soft version, they feel a manageable twinge. Your softness is semi-public. They can share it. When someone else gets a glimpse of your dark version, the jealousy sharpens your darkness, is rarer, more private, harder to earn. But when someone else accesses your weird, when someone else makes you laugh, the weird laugh, the one that comes from the place nobody's supposed to see, the jealousy becomes something close to existential. Because the weird version is the most you version. And someone else touching it feels like someone else reading their diary, except the diary is you, and they want to be the only reader. I keep getting the number 3 creative expression, divine expansion. Something creative is about to open for you that requires exactly the multidimensional quality that has made you feel like too much for most people. A project, a role, a platform that doesn't want the flattened version. It wants the full file, the unedited, uncurated, all versions visible file. And the number 8 flashes alongside abundance arriving because the world is finally ready to pay for what you've been giving away in fragments. If this is hitting you right now, drop the words every version in the comments. Like this video and subscribe because what happens in this community is different from anything else on this platform, and I need your energy in here. Now let me bring this home. because I need to tell you something you've probably never been told. You are not too many things. You are not contradictory. You are not confusing or complicated or difficult to love. You are a person who contains enough dimension to require someone with equal depth to perceive you fully. And most people don't have that depth. So they take the piece they can handle and they call it the whole. And when another piece surfaces, they treat it as an inconsistency rather than an expansion. And you've internalized that. You've started believing that your multiplicity is a problem to be managed rather than a richness to be witnessed. It's not a problem. It's the most extraordinary thing about you. And this person, is not asking you to choose which version to present. They're asking you to present all of them at once, without warning labels, without dimming any frequency, without the exhausting, lifelong management of showing the right version to the right room at the right time. They want the whole file. And for the first time in your life, someone's hard drive is big enough to hold it. You have been editing yourself for rooms that couldn't contain you. You have been showing fragments to people who couldn't handle the mosaic. And you've started to believe that the mosaic is the problem, that if you could just be simpler, more consistent, more predictable, more one thing, life would be easier and love would come faster. It wouldn't. It would come emptier. Because the love that arrives for the flattened version is love for a person who doesn't exist. And you'd spend the rest of your life maintaining a fiction to keep a love that was never really yours. The person in this reading doesn't want the fiction. They want the full, terrifying, contradictory, magnificent truth. And they're ready for it. Every version. All at once. No warning labels required. Okay, I need you to go receive this now. Stop overthinking it. Stop talking yourself out of it. This is coming for you and you deserve it, period. If this hit, like this video right now, share it with your person, subscribe because I am literally always in here dropping something, and comment below because I read every single one and I want to know who this is about. Okay, go. I love you. Bye.